I've just read a very interesting article. Way back in 1989, the year my father killed my mother, I took an O-level in law. And it was a fairly broad brush, and I thought I knew quite a bit about the law, and I do. Of course, it's out of date by a long way. And laws change all the time. But this article was about a woman who could not divorce her paedophile husband because she couldn't locate him. And he kept changing names and places. And after 5 years, she now thinks perhaps she can divorce him without his cooperation. Which of course reminded me of the fact that my father's wife Enid divorced him 6 years after the birth of Karen Ann, my half-sister. And when my father told me that he had not divorced Enid because he couldn't find her, he was reversing the truth. The truth was that Enid could not find him to divorce him. He didn't go to Australia until early 1949, and he was still there when she divorced him in 1952. But within a year of that, he was back in England. And he was back in England with my brother, but without my mother. I am now more than ever certain that he came back with a view to trying to get Enid back, presumably unaware that Thomas Montgomery had moved in the interim in 1948. I'd previously thought he was aware of it, and in fact I thought it was some arrangement they'd come to between them since they appeared to know each other, and I'm certain did know each other. But here is the plain fact, which was merely a suspicion before. My father did not want to divorce his wife, which is a little odd, if he genuinely didn't believe that Karen was his. In that case, he genuinely did believe that Enid had been unfaithful to him. And by that time he was with my mother. Why would he not want to divorce an unfaithful wife and marry the woman he'd just run off with? And in addition to that, an added incentive to divorce her would have been that he wouldn't have to pay maintenance on Karen, which, without disputing paternity, and as Enid's husband, he would have had to do. He would have been ordered to pay maintenance, if anyone could find him. Well, of course, the first place that Enid would have looked would have been in her mother-in-law's house. My grandmother's house. My grandmother was still legally Enid's mother-in-law. And at one point, my mother told me, she and my brother were living in that house. So if my grandmother did not tell Enid that yes, her son was to be found there and could be divorced there, then my grandmother must have swallowed whole the story my father had told her. Well, why wouldn't she? Most women are loyal to their sons. And my aunt, I have to say, swallowed the same story whole. And I am reminded that my father did not say to me, I am not Karen's father. I was not Karen's father. He said, I couldn't have been her father, which is not quite the same thing. There was uncertainty in that. No certainty. Oh, another video was uploading. I didn't want to record this, but it was all clear in my head at the time. And I'm learning not to talk for too long because it now makes my lungs raw if I do. 3 months ago I talked for an hour and a half with Angela Power Disney and no ill effects. 11 days before Karen's birth, according to the date my father put on the back of the photograph. My father was just, I think it was about 8-9 miles from his wife. 11 days before his wife gave birth to Karen, he and my mother were in the vicinity. And I still wonder what went down at that point in time. And I'm wondering something else as well. Whether my mother told me the truth when she said she had married my father. They knew crooked registrars, this I know. And she came, as I've said, from a family of Freemasons who do wield considerable power. If that was the point at which my mother discovered that she had married a man who was already married, was there a way that she could have had that marriage entry deleted? I think there was. I'm not sure if there was a legal way that she could have had that entry deleted. I'm still not clear on that one. Annulled, but not deleted from marriage records. But the one thing I'm now 100% certain of is that my father wanted to hang on to Enid and Karen.